here in US, so it's more of job perspective what we are thinking of. And the main reason what it kicked us to come into this event management is we are more into the supply chain. We both are into the materials management and also into logistics execution to some extent. So based on the idea, the event management is more towards these modules, right? So coming to the job perspective, so when I look more into the dice and the monster, it's more towards TM and EM.
Okay. Yeah.
And also, so for me to go ahead with the TM and EM, we should also have some idea on what exactly is the EM. So we need to be strong in EM first, and then probably we should be knowing something between EM and TM.
Yeah, I remember. Okay. So what we will do, so in the course we will mainly stress on the TM and the EM, okay? Because, okay, so when we talk about, and did you work on transport management somehow? Just I would like to recollect.
No, let me correct. Okay, so we first want to be an event management expert, okay? So not to jump into the TM and EM. It is what we discussed, myself and Raja we discussed. So our first agenda is to get into the EM first, and then later to get into the EM and TM.
Okay, understood. Okay, then we'll stress on the TM EM part. So Naveen, I think it's the content is clear, okay? Naveen, are you there? Naveen.
So when we know the EM, then we can stress on the EM and TM part. So let's not jump into that. We are here for the EM and TM only. We are here to become an EM expert, and also for us to get a job, EM and TM is also required. So it is what my intention.
Yeah. So okay. You are right in that way. Like as I was saying, so in any type of industry, whether you are working with logistics industry, whether you are working with the transportation industry, basically when you are planning to implement SAP Event Management, okay? So event management is completely, and it's not an independent module which can work on, okay? So for that we have to set up our core business process, whether it's a transport management process, okay, when you are speaking of TM, or is the core, the manufacturing or the core procurement sales process when we are talking about ECC part. So our prime objective initially is to give you a setup of how the event management will be done, and we'll give reference, obviously more stress on your transport management, but we'll also cover, 1 or 2 classes on how your procurement to pay can also be implemented and integrated with your event management. Okay, so we'll try to cover both, but more stress will be on the TM-EM part. Obviously, EM is the main module on which the entire thing will be set up. Okay.
Okay. Raja.
Yeah.
So what's your idea? Like I just based upon our discussion, I'm just talking. So is it what you're also thinking like me? Anything in your mind?
Yeah, that should be okay, because at least I think that's I mean, based on what you said and what Narendra said, and that should be our goal. I mean, if he will be stressing more on the EM and as well as afterwards TM, but covering a couple of process perspective from ECC side, that should be enough for us.
So, Virendra, so if we are talking first about the ECC side, will we be discussing on the MMSD, or like how does it go? How does the process go? So, for our first goal is to cover the ECC and the EM, right? And then later we'll jump into the EM and TM. So,
okay.
So what are the objectives in terms of ECC and EM?
So in the ECC and the EM, we'll start with the procurement to pay scenario. Okay, we'll cover that part.
Okay.
And then that is part of ECC component we'll cover. And then when we come to the transport management part, we'll cover the LSP scenario. Okay. So I'll tell you in details what about the LSP, the service provider part and all. Okay. So I will also give you of a little bit on the transport management, because you need to know your application system. Just an overview. It's not that I'm going to show you all configurations related to transport management and all. No, but obviously I will try to cover what are the settings you need to do to activate this TMEM part and this EM to ECC part. Okay, so that at least
Right.
on a holistic perspective you get an idea.
If you look into that SAP trainings, right, the SAP SCM 663 covers about the SAP Event Management, and it has a curriculum about the, I hope it has a curriculum about the ECC part. And if you look into the 660, it covers about the EM and TM integration. So will you be guiding us through that core curriculum, or you have your own agenda?
No, see, SCM 660 and 663, though SAP has taken it out, okay. But what my course content will be is the accumulation of both, okay. Because ultimately, once we start with it, you will see that whatever technical objects, whatever like the setup we will speak of, it's same for both these course contents, okay. So I'm going to we just directly cannot follow the SCM 660 or 63, but we'll cover everything what is provided there. Okay.
Okay. And Naveen, like if you remember sometime back when we were discussing about the course, you promised me about the SAP material that you'll be providing based upon the SCM 663 and TM 950, right? Are you still okay on that? Can you provide us the material?
ACM 663 will provide, okay?
Okay, and so the TM 950 is the integration between the TM and the EM.
I'll find out that we don't have Chaitanya, okay? I'll try and I'll let you know by tomorrow, okay?
Right. It's my request to try hard from your end.
Yeah, definitely
right?
I'll try, okay?
Okay, thanks.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's get started, okay?
Okay.
So I think, yeah. So I just start again, just to recap, rather than going directly into the system, just to recap, like what are the various components we have in your SAP Event Management. So as you know that SAP Event Management is basically based on your SAP Web Application Server, okay, which is the version mainly 6.20, okay, and this.
Virendra, you have any slideshow to share?
No, today actually I don't have any. See, I have an overview material, okay, but whatever I'm speaking is not related to your. Yeah, okay, I can show you something. Just one moment. I'm sharing my screen now.
No, if we. Yeah, if it is in a classroom, we can understand. But if it is something online, it is always convenient for us to see this.
You can see my screen?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So as you must be aware, like like event management offers a broad range of functions, like mainly your tracking, your notification, and your alert creation. Okay. So SAP Event Management is able to track and control your entire business process along the entire supply chain, okay, and there we can integrate your supply chain planning, execution, sales, production, transport solution, everything within event management system. So mainly when we are implementing event management, there are four components which basically serves as an engine for entire monitoring of your business event. So what are those four components? So if I go back here, yeah. So first component, so as you see, we have got monitoring, notifying, simulate, and control. Okay. Any idea what are these four components does? Any idea?
Maybe based upon the subject line, we can understand probably to monitor how the PO goes, and if it is beyond the delivery time, to whom it should notify, and when it should simulate, and how to control. Maybe probably I'm just giving a bit. Yeah.
You are right.
Yeah.
So monitor means like this event management solution provides ongoing information about your supply chain events, okay, including it can be a inventory status, it can be the information about orders, shipments, production, transport orders, etc. Okay, so the entire monitoring and of all those documents are being taken care by event management. Next is your notify. So notify means when we are using the exception management process in event management system, then we can use the alert processing framework, based on which it will make a decision if an action has to be taken, okay, or some alerts needs to be sent. So notify means, for example, if we're planning that a goods will reach to the customer on a certain date, and in case there is a delay of 1 day or 2 days, then obviously due to some delay or damage to your particular resource who is carrying the product, in that case, as part of the exception management, because it's an exception, okay, you need to send alerts to all the stakeholders and the planners so that they can reschedule all their planning activities. So what are rescheduling? For example, you expected that goods will receive today. You'll collect the trucker will collect the POD from the customer, and then you'll raise the invoice tomorrow. Okay, but because of this damage or delay to the particular truck, the goods could not be delivered to the customer, and hence your invoicing will also be delayed, your goods received will be delayed, the POD reporting will be delayed. So such type of information should be notified to all the respective stakeholders there. Okay, that is what I mean by notify. Then we have the simulate. So simulate means event management supports all the decisions which are taken by the planner, whether it's a procurement planner or whether it's your transport planner, by assessing what will happen if specific actions occur, okay, based on the event response. So simulate means, suppose you are reporting an event, okay, and if an event is reported, like as I have said, that based on POD event being reported, your invoicing will be triggered. So this type of simulation process is basically taken care by event management. That means if a certain action has to occur, that means if we are reporting an event POD, then what is the next sequence of activities that will be done? That is, entire visibility of your shipment process can be taken up by the event management solution. Okay.
So Virendra, let me interrupt you. So you said the alert is something like it is alerting us, right? So the shipment is delayed or the GR is being delayed.
Yes.
And so is it like you're trying to say the action part by the scheduler is a simulation?
Yes, the action part.
So what kind of an action it is?
Yeah, action means what I have said, like reporting an event is an action, okay? Sending alert is not an action. Sending alert is a notification. So whenever you are trying to report an event, and always remember, whenever anyone is reporting an event, it's always accompanied by an event message. That message basically contains all the event reporting information, like what type of event you are reporting, when you are reporting, at which location you are reporting, at what time you are reporting. So that event message, when it is processed from your event management side, it will try to simulate or basically lead the way of the next course of action. Okay.
So reporting to whom?
Reporting to
whom?
Now it can be reported by anyone. Like it can be reported by an external business partner like carrier. It can be reported to anyone from your customer service operations, anyone within the business entity.
Suppose I found the delivery is being delayed, right? And that's a notify, and now I have to take an action, simulate. Now I have to report. If I want to report, where does the report goes to? Like to whom? Does it have a workflow?
No, the report basically, whenever you are reporting an event, either you can report it manually, okay, within the system, or you can report it automatically through some status change, or it can also be reported indirectly via the interface. So once
does it go to somebody's inbox? Like, does it have a workflow?
No, you do, see, again, it depends on the business decision, whether they want to implement you don't require a workflow for reporting an event, because you have a web UI, which is called as a web user interface. It's a type of a screen whereby all the events which has been reported can be visualized automatically. Okay, so you don't need to set up a workflow for reporting an event, or else it will be too much of messages. And always note that workflow or alerts are only sent for exception management, not for standard reporting. You can do it, but ultimately it is going to defeat the cause of why event management is there, because event management has a well-designed web UI, which will basically serve the purpose of providing an overview of all the events which has been reported.
Okay. Okay. So it's just recording in the system. That's it, right?
Yes. Yes. And finally, we have the control. So control means, like, in case a planner makes any change in certain conditions, or whether he makes a change in any decision, whether he changes the routing, whether he changes any other details in your application system, okay, that will automatically send information or control the entire other activities as well in the supply chain. So again, for example, if you have the POD if a POD has to be reported, okay, then during the course of POD reporting, or for example, departure, okay. So departure was destined from, for example, Boston, but rather then due to some issue, the departure was destined, the routing was changed, and it was reported from, for example, from other location in US, okay. So due to this change, the entire supply chain activities needs to be rescheduled. So event management has that rule set framework based on which it will send all the necessary information to the corresponding planner as well, that in this way the entire supply chain control activities can be taken up. Okay, so that we what we call as the controlling part. And finally, we have the measure. Measure means event management provides the measurements in the form of key performance indicators, metrics, to see how well the supply chain performed in your past and present. So for that, we need to have an integration with your BI and BO, so that your dashboards reporting, your capabilities, how are the carriers performing, how are the events being reported, whether the events have been reported on time, how many events have been overdue, how many are unexpected events that has been reported. So all this type of information can be measured effectively also using event management solution.
So it's more like a statistical data.
Yeah, it's a it's a real-time update which you get in your when you are integrating with BI. Okay.
Is it more like a graphical, or?
Yeah, it can be standard BI reports. You have an integration with BI. Okay.
Look, can you give more examples on the control? I didn't follow on it. The control thing.
Control means basically after what will happen in case certain changes are done in the routing part, or what will happen if certain changes are done in any of the document in your application system. Okay, for example, the delivery date is changed or the quantity is changed. What happens mainly this is mainly observed in the transport management solution. So basically what happens, your customer tells you that I want to transport a container from Mumbai to from India to Germany using, and within that container I have got 100 packets. Okay, but maybe what happens is that due to certain observations, instead of 100, the total number of packages which has been added is 90, because maybe it contained dangerous products due to which we could not be transported in the same container. So some information, some type of, and also the routing got changed in the last moment, because initially we planned to send the product from India through Dubai to Germany, but now due to some constraint we are sending it through Qatar or Doha to Germany. Okay, so such type of routing information change is adapted within your event management framework easily. Okay, because once an event is reported with those location as Qatar, or with the quantities measurements updated, okay, it will send a note or notification or an information to the procurement planner that all such measurement information has been updated with the correct results. Okay, so in this way it can.
So that's the change that happens on the ECC side, right? So if that change happens on the ECC side, will that reflect into the EM, or is it a vice versa?
Yes, it will, because EM uses all the business objects which ECC uses. Okay, EM has got no master data or transaction data. So whatever changes you are doing in ECC, okay, that changes are updated in your event management system, and then the procurement planner or transport planner logs into the EM system. He checks the web UI. He puts in the delivery or the sales order or freight order number as a reference, and he will get all the required information, like what are the events reported, with what measurement, with what location. All the information can be provided to him.
So is it a manual process, or?
Yeah, web UI is a manual process.
Okay.
Manual process in the sense that it's a dashboard type of reporting. Okay, so if I show you now, maybe you'll understand what I mean by web UI.
It's a docking monitor, I believe so.
Right. Now what I'm thinking is it must be in a company, if you take an FMCG company, right, it will be having a lot of POs. So will a scheduler be doing it manually every time?
No, it's not manual because you have to report an event, right? So for reporting an event, 1 minute. Mm, 1 minute.
Okay.
Sorry, that's why I was confused. So if you see here, here's the event management, and here you have the web interface. So this is the only transaction which we give access to the production users. Okay, there is no other transaction to execute.
Oh.
In event management.
So it's more like an SRM. Huh?
Yeah, only one transaction code. That's it.
Okay. So this can be integrated with how many modules in ECC?
If you are okay, like procurement to pay, like you can integrate with MM, you can integrate with SD, you can integrate with your warehouse, you can integrate with your production, you can integrate with your RTI process. So almost all the models it can be integrated, but the standard process integration lies with mainly with your procurement to pay and sales process.
You said R2R, like finance?
Finance, we need to see finance. One object is there only for invoicing, okay, but that invoicing obviously is related to your procurement to pay or sales, right? Mainly with your procurement to pay process, right?
Right.
So apart from that, if you want to also, basically track the vendor payment, account receivable, account payables, all in very detailed level, then obviously a lot of development has to be done. But in standard, it basically monitors till your vendor has paid you. Okay.
Okay.
So if you see here, what will happen in the production, like in the production system, if you are either implementing your the transport management solution, or if you are implementing your sales process solution, so what we'll do, you put some specific dates here, like, or for example, you say that my pickup and delivery date is this, I want to have the entire list of document which has been reported or not. Okay, or you can also put a specific order number here and you can do it. So once you put those data, you just click on search. And just give you an example, okay?
Okay.
So is that screen can we add new fields or anything, or is it like?
If you have to add new field, see, one thing we need to keep in mind, as I said, that event management do not have any transaction data of its own. So if you want to create a new field, obviously that field information should also be there in your DCC, okay? So that the data can pass from. And in case you have to do that, that will be a development from EM perspective, because event management only work on extraction principle. Extraction principle means it only works on data extraction from your application system. It means independently it cannot create or maintain any data. Okay, so whatever data you are creating in your DCC or your TM, that will flow into event management system. Okay, if you see here, these are the orders which I have. Okay, So you have your example. Obviously, this is the transport management which I've opened for you. You have got your freight order number, forwarding order number, shipper, consignee, carrier. You can also display in this mode. Okay, that is. And coming back to a question, obviously, any Z field which you are adding, that can also that also has to be put in the configuration, or else the selection criteria will not have that value. And if you see here, if you go down against each order, suppose I have selected this order. So against this order, you have got all the event related information. Okay. And see, if you see here, the status is red. Red means it has not been reported. Now you can suppose just click this. Okay. Suppose you want to report an event, loading begin. Okay. Or for example, loading or proof of delivery. Okay. And you just click on apply. So you can give a location. So location means at which location. So basically we always report POD at your destination location. Okay. And you can give the location description as Japan. Even this is configurable. See the star mark. Star mark means all the fields are mandatory. Okay. And this which is not marked as star is not mandatory. So again, this is also configurable. It's not that you only have these 6 fields. You can have 10 fields, 12 fields, but again, whatever field you want to have as a mandatory for sending event messages, that can also be configurable. And then you just click on send. Okay, I think I have some authorization issue. Okay, I'll just tell Naveen to provide me that. So once you click on this, basically, then what will happen? This will turn green. Okay, so this green indicates that your actual date and time has been updated. So either you can do a mass reporting, that means you can report all expected events at the same time if it is possible, or you can do it on an event by event basis.
No, why did you take the example of Japan and that stuff?
Sorry?
No, why did you take the example of Japan for all these events?
No, because this was the scenario I was running for transport management. It was moving from your consignee location to a Japan port. That means that was the reason. So the goods was picked up from the warehouse and it was reported at your Japan port. That's the reason why I see the location is coming by default from transport management solution. So that's why I have to take this location. So the location should match against what you are reporting.
So what are all these red ones? Like red ones are what?
Red one means your actual date and time is not reported. That means event reporting has not been done. So green means it has been reported.
Reported in the sense of what? Like
Event has been reported. Event reporting has been done. That means your did you get it? What do you mean by event reporting? That means that your loading process has been started. That means you are reporting an event. That means your milestone has been covered there for loading process.
So does it mean like it did not reach the goods in time? That's the reason it is reported and it is in green, or?
No.
I see. Let's take the warehouse example. So if a trucker goes to he starts his log on. So that's an event that is getting triggered and it is being started.
Okay.
Is that one written? Is that what whatever my understanding?
You are right.
So if at all, if the, for example, he comes for a day and he logs on to SAP screen. So once the SAP screen, probably we have an event. Once a user logs in, an event is triggered and that is being sent here and it is reported as this user has logged in at this time, actual date and time.
Okay, so that means if a material scheduler created an PO, so that creation of a PO is an event which will eventually come and report here in this web tool, and it will show it as a green. And if that particular PO is since that PO has been created, it will be shown in green, right? So when does that PO come in red here then?
No. See, basically, if you see here, okay, let's change it to your procurement to pay scenario. So this is what I was talking about, transport management. Okay, in transport management, basically you need to report an event either manually in your TM, or you have to do it even from by a web interface. Okay, that is what you are. Yeah. Okay. Now suppose if you are changing it to your procurement to pay, I just change it to this one, buyer procurement visibility process, where your ECC will come. So ECC works little bit in a different way. Okay, so in ECC basically you don't have that option to basically report an event manually from anywhere. Okay, it does once your purchase order gets created, once your sales order created, delivery is created, so automatically the events will get updated here. I'll just show you.
Okay. Events get updated and it will be shown as green, right? So my next question is, when does that in terms of the PO?
See, the green light and the red light, don't be confused with that. That light can also be changed. Only the icons, it's an icon, right? So an icon only indicates if an event is reported or it's not being reported. It's not that if it is reported again it will turn red. It's not like that. It's not a traffic signal. So it's like once you are reporting an event, whether it comes from your ECC automatically or whether it comes from your TM automatically, then once the actual event information is updated in your system, then only the status icons will change. You can also control the configuration such that you don't want any status icons to show. You just wanted to view the actual date column if it is updated or not. So in short, whenever you are reporting an event, means your actual date and time is updated in the system. That is the point at which the particular event reporting is done. Then only you can have the status icon change. It's just for your reference. The configuration has been done in that way.
Mm-hmm.
I think some problem is there with the procurement to pay. I'll just check this.
Okay.
I'll just check this why the output is not coming here, but at least for transport, I'll just have a view of this. I'll just check this.
Okay.
Okay. So in event management, those are the default scenarios. That is the standard scenarios that is being provided.
Yeah, standard scenarios which has been provided. Okay. So I just wanted to. So this will come into details later on once we start with the web UI. So this is just for reference. Like whenever you are working on event management solution, this is the only screen which will be given to the users. Okay, and there they can report an event. They can have all the information captured there. So for the stakeholders also, if they wanted to see how the supply chain is going on, they can just put the specific document number, or they can put a specific location, they can put a specific delivery dates, or they can put a specific shipper consignee. Like they wanted to see how for a particular business partner your supply chain process is working. Okay, or for a specific consignee. So you can get all the information here on this particular screen, your messages screen. Okay, and also best. So and also you can report the events here. So that is the main function of this particular web UI, what we call as a web user interface.
So if any event is reported here, will it go back to and update the ECC or TM application?
So there are two ways. If you are working with a transport management system, okay. So in transport management system, you see there is freight order, freight unit. These are the objects which we have. Okay, like freight order, in freight unit. So in case you are reporting any event in this particular freight order or freight booking here, it will automatically update it in the system. Okay, because transport management solution. So I will open a particular document for you to see where it gets updated. Okay, so I just open the system again.
So what I mean is, whatever the event that is being reported will get updated back to the applications, event management or SAP.
Yeah. So that if you are reporting an event from event management solution, that will be updated in your transport management. Okay. All the documents which are there in your transport management. But in case of ECC, it's not that case, because in ECC we don't have any separate tabs where you can view the event information. It's only in EM you have to see those. But transport management is not that particular. It follows a different way. So suppose if I open the freight order.
So even the transport management, is it a web-based tool?
Yes, yes. It's based on NWBC, NetWeaver Business Client.
Yeah. NWBC, okay.
So there is an execution tab here where you can, it's not there right now. So this execution tab basically updates all the event information automatically when you are reporting from event management. Okay?
Okay.
But in ECC, it's not that case, because in ECC we don't have any separate, basically a placeholder or tabs, unless you do some screen enhancement or you do a field enhancement there to have that information back into ECC.
Okay. So it's only one-way communication.
Yeah, it's so that's why when you are tracking and tracing through ECC, it's always best to use your web user interface to view those event information. But when you are working with transport management solution, you have the flexibility to use both TM and EM to view the event information.
Okay, got it.
But you have to report an event only once. Okay, you don't have to report it twice in different systems. Okay.
Okay.
That's why if you see here, I'm not sure whether you are aware of that. That's why what SAP is trying. They are trying to replace the entire LE solution. I think you are aware of this logistic execution, transport planning, vehicle scheduling part which we have in ECC, right? So they are planning within the next 3 to 4 years. Already that particular activity has started. They are going to replace all with TM, transport management solution. So you can imagine the amount of the volume of jobs and the opportunities everyone will get in that area. So also what I heard, they have already stopped any type of developments in standard warehouse, standard LE solution. They have stopped all the developments now. So they're all going into the SCE solution. Do you know what you mean by SCE solution?
No.
It's called as supply chain execution solution. That means LE and TPVS will be replaced by TM. Your warehouse will be replaced by EWM. And we have your E. E means your event management. So entire logistic process will be implemented using the SCE solution now.
So what happens to the MM and WM?
So MM and SD will continue. It's not that they are what I said, they have stopped development. So for LE and TRA, obviously they are going to replace it with TM. Okay, but that how they are going to do it, that obviously differs from project to project. Okay.
Okay, so all the LE will be now removed from the ECC and put it in the TM, and the WM is going to the EWM.
I've already worked in. This is my third project where I'm working on. Obviously, I'm working on the S4HANA part, where they used to have this entire ECC part, like they used to do the planning of shipments, everything like the normal planning we do using your LE module. Okay, routing, stage determination. Now, what they have done, they are only creating the order part in the ECC, like your sales order, purchase order, stock transport order, returns order in ECC, and the entire planning and the shipment triggering process is being now done in TM. Already many projects have gone live with that. So they are not using your LE solution to do your transport planning and all, because actually what happens there, the main advantage of using TM there along with EM, that it's using a single tool, they are going to have the entire visibility. If you see this document also, if anyone opens one document number, here, which I have closed now, here you can get the list of all your planning details, all the invoicing details, all your event information details. such type of thing was not there in LETRA. So you have to either go into shipment, from there again you have to go to billing, again you have to go, and you did not get a overview of all the things in one framework. But here this solution is doing that same thing.
So you mean to say the planning is the production planning, or?
No, this is basically I am about the transport planning. Okay. So if you are working in any logistics industry, so see, TM is more related to logistics. Okay.
Right.
Transportation is the core business, not manufacturing or production is the core business. Okay.
Okay.
Many companies in US, means at least what I've been working, at least we have got around 30 to 40 differences of such projects where they are looking for such type of solution. So already, you know, SAP is having already a gap of so many people, how to fit those into those projects. So anyway, leaving aside that part, but yeah, so production planning is a core. In that, if you're doing a product, if your business is main production planning, that means transportation is not the core business. We have to make a planning here. If your transportation and logistics is your core business, then you can easily implement this solution.
Right.
But if you know, a shipper company, that means where procurement, sales, production, warehousing is still your main business, then obviously you cannot leave your ECC part. But again, yeah, I've seen many companies where that is what we call as a shipper scenario, right? So for shipper scenario, we create the order part, and the entire planning and charging, invoicing, everything is done in TM now.
Everything done in? Everything is done in what? TM. Okay.
TM, transport management.
Okay.
Okay. And one disadvantage which I see from this ECC to TM, because in ECC you don't have that flexibility to manually report an event. What they do, whatever, so for example, you are creating a purchase order, your purchase order event handler is updated automatically. You do a GR, then this GR automatically updates in your event management. So you don't have that option basically to report an event from event management and then update in ECC. Okay. But in case of transport management, is not that case. In transport management, and also your interfaces and all, really I have not seen too much of interface involvement when you are creating your purchasing and sales in your ECC. But in transport management, what I have seen here, you know, like any type of business partners from any external system can send the information to your transporters, and that can be automatically updated in EM and TM both. So you know, the entire, like, or for example, you are transporting your product using a container. Okay, so step by step, where your container is, at which point of time your container is loaded, unloaded, whether the container is ready for loading. So all such type of information is readily obtainable through your TM solution. It's very difficult to get through your ECC in such cases. Okay.
But some manufacturing companies do have their own transportation, right?
Yeah. They have their own transportation. Yeah. They have their own transportation, but ultimately then it's a big custom development, because in standard for ECC part, SAP has provided some very standard scenarios. Okay, like you can do only PO, GR, IV, and acknowledgement ASN. That's it. Okay, but if you want to integrate again all your external planning with your event management planning for ECC, it will be a huge custom development solution. It does not work very easily in those cases.
Right. But no, what I'm asking is, so for some, I heard like some companies like Colgate, it has its own transportation and also it has its own manufacturing, right? So that means they will implement their ECC along with their TM for the Colgate Palmolive, right? So that means what I'm trying to say is the same company has manufacturing, and also the same company also work on its own transportation, right?
Yeah.
So initially when you started saying it's not you should not look into the manufacturing perspective. Here the core business of this TM is more into the transportation and the planning.
Yeah.
But if you take the example of the Colgate Palmolive, it has both. It has its own transportation and the manufacturing. So in that case, it can implement it ECC along with its TM also, right?
Yes. You can implement ECC with TM. You can implement also your see what also I was working in one of the fertilizer company, like where they buy the products in bulk. So what they do, they basically do when the truck enters the gate yard, okay, they do a quality check before they start loading or unloading the material, okay. So in that case you can also implement your quality management integration with your event management system, okay. And then you start your, you can track your transport or management process. So here you have the dual activity. You can also integrate simultaneously your ECC along with TM, okay. But one thing as a solution consultant, what we need to be a little bit aware, like event management is a, you can put it as an add-on in the same server, or you can have a different server, okay. But if you see that it's only a few events which you need to track and trace in your event management related to production or something like that. So somehow you need to make a call whether it's really feasible or whether it really makes sense to do so much of development and connect with ECC rather than with TM, okay. Like if you only want to track 4 or 5 events, okay, and you have got around 40-50 events in transport management, okay. So means more development means more effort and also more costing to the company, right? So you need to make a call there. So obviously we have got references where it has been implemented simultaneously with ECC and TM, but you need to be a little bit judicious in doing all those things, because always the server sizing, hardware, development cost, the implementation cost, all those things comes into the picture. Change management, strategy, process, all those things we need to keep in mind as well. Okay.
So
okay.
Yeah,
tell me.
No, so what do you suggest there? Like, suppose if a small company want to implement EM for the ECC, right? It has to go with the hardware and the software, right?
Yes.
So it's an add-on. It's not. It doesn't come with the ECC. It's an add-on, and we need to connect these both two different servers together.
Yeah. See, my suggestion will be, and you are having. Is it only with ECC, or you are also implementing TM there?
No, only ECC and EM.
Only ECC and EM. Okay. So see, first of all, you need to make a recommendation sheet to SAP. I don't know whether you have worked on all those. SAP has a standard server sizing sheet, okay, for event management. So what will SAP ask? SAP will tell you to provide you some information, like how many shipments per day, how many truckloads per day, how many orders you are creating, all those stuff, okay. And based on that, SAP will suggest whether the add-on will really serve the use in terms of performances, or whether you need to make a different server. My always suggestion, recommendation will be to always get event management on a different server, okay, because there are too much of performance issues when you are implementing event management in the same server. Because if you're just creating one order, and if one order has got, so say for example, for 20 events, so per order you are generating 20 messages. And in case you are working on a company where you are generating around 30 to 40 orders per day, that means it's around 400 messages per day, which is around, I think, if it is 400, that means around 3,000 messages per week, which comes out to be more than 10,000 messages per month, okay. So in that case, what I have seen in many cases where the performance becomes slow, some of the events do not get updated, that there are certain performance oriented issues, so that's why always I suggest get it on a different server. And with this S4 data HANA part now being in the picture now, SAP is also suggesting to go with in a different server, because their database is too much of, has a wide array, they can hold more space, performance optimization can be achieved easily. So that is what I would suggest.
So the dependent server, you mean to say it's a different server, right?
Yeah, you get a different box. You get a different box there.
Okay, so what if it is not a different box? So it will come, what is the other one?
Yeah. The other one is that you can just do an add-on, okay, within your same server where ECC is there, and you just set up an RFC connection there. That's it.
Oh, okay. Now I got it. Okay, sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Now let me come off, of course, with the types of events. Okay. So today I'll give an overview mostly because for the next day we shall start with the configuration where we need to configure and what are the things we need to configure. Okay. And some of the important definitions, event management definitions, we need to understand. Okay. So there are basically 4 types of events. One is an expected event. So if you see here, one is an expected event. Okay. One is an early or late event. One is an unexpected event. Okay, this is an unexpected event. And one is an unreported event. Okay. So what do you mean by expected event? So always make a note whenever you are setting up your event management solution, whether with TM or ECC, you always need to have an expected event. Expected event means these are the events which we expect to occur within a particular time frame. Okay. So for example, your purchase order creation date is today, GR is tomorrow, invoice is day after tomorrow, POD collection will be 4 days after today's date. So these are all your expected dates, right? Because obviously you know the delivery date of a customer, but for delivery date you also need to track the various milestones of the shipment, right? So all these are various milestones like arrival, departure, purchase order created, ASN, good received. These are all milestones which your event management solution wants to track. And in order to track them, you need to have a planned or expected date. So always you see whenever you are, even in the web UI, if you see almost all the events have your expected date and time. If you go down, see, these are my planned date and time. Okay. Now the next part which you come across is your early and late event. Okay. What do you mean by early or late event? Events that we expect to occur within a particular time frame, but that actually occurs outside the tolerance range. Okay. So for example, you are expecting the POD to be reported at 10 o'clock, but if the POD has been reported after 10 o'clock, that means it's called as a late event. If it is reported before 10 o'clock, it's called as an early event. Okay. And based on these events, they can cause subsequent rescheduling of all the supply chain activities. Okay. So it's very important to understand at which time frame a particular event should be reported or not.
Okay.
Okay. Then we have an unexpected event. So unexpected event means events which is related to exception. For example, in case your purchase order is delayed, in case your GR is delayed, in case you have not received the vendor confirmation on time, in case your resource which is carrying the product is damaged. Okay. So these do not occur day-to-day activity, right? These occur as an exception. So that's why whenever there are events which is related to exceptions, then it is called as an unexpected event. Okay. So unexpected event can always trigger an alert or other type of notification. So notification process is always related to unexpected event. So in case your business says that please raise notification for expected event, you should really challenge it, because you can consider the amount of messages which will be generated per expected event, and it will really bring down the performance. But unexpected event do not occur on a daily basis. It only occur on exceptions. So major difference between an expected and unexpected event is that unexpected event do not have a planned date and time. That is a major difference. And if you see this, see these are unexpected, these are reported in manually. That's why you don't see this planned date and time here. Okay. So if you are reporting an event manually in your SAP system, or if an event such exceptions can also come through interface. Okay. So we have a way to indicate whether it's an expected event or unexpected event. So major difference between expected and unexpected is that there is no planned date and time for your unexpected event, but obviously the actual date and time will be populated for an unexpected event. Okay.
Now, how can there be a unexpected event, Virender? Like, if I create a PO in ECC, there will be always a GR time, there will be always a PO processing time, right? From your purchase info record, everything will be reflected into your PO, right?
No, see, it's a very common process. You created a PO, your PO has but then suddenly you change the PO due to vendor commitment that they cannot deliver you 10 quantities. They can only deliver you 5 quantities. So you change the PO. So this PO change is not a regular feature, right? It's an unexpected event for SAP EM. Similarly, goods received. Goods received, you are expecting 10 goods to be received, but you find a discrepancy of 5 pieces because the 5 pieces were damaged during the transportation process. So in that case, you will say the quantity change as one of the event. So quantity change is an unexpected event. It's not a standard event.
Okay. Okay. So you mean to say the quantity variance, the delay in the partial delivery, all these are the unexpected events.
Yes. But you have to configure those events as an unexpected event, okay? Unless you configure, system will not be able to identify what unexpected event you want to trigger.
So during the blueprint, we had to sit with the business and identify what are the things they want to trigger this particular events.
Yes. Okay.
Okay.
And finally, we have the unreported event. So unreported event means an event which is expected to occur within a particular tolerance level, but there is no reported at all. So for example, you expected the event to be reported, POD, but it has not been reported at all. So that's why we call it as an unreported event. So what happens when an event becomes unreported, we have a bad job, okay? That bad job is called as an expected event monitored bad job. If you see here, we got under this event management, okay, expected event overdue list. That means this basically will indicate what are the events which has been unreported and hence has become overdue. Overdue means it should have been reported but it has not been reported. That's why it has become overdue. So based on certain event code, based on certain message date, based on certain application system, based on your PO sales order number, which you call as a tracking ID, so you can get the list of all events which has not been reported or which has become overdue. Okay. So this is again a monitoring tool that monitors all events at the back end of your milestone. And a tolerance.
So this is not more like a functional, this is more like a SAP technical thing.
Yeah, it's a monitoring tool. Okay. So once we get the list of events which has not been reported, you can send maybe some notification messages that why it's not reported, whether it's a user's fault or whether that carrier has not reported the or dispatched the material only. That's why you are not being able to report. So all such type of information can be occurred. You can get an overview of all such lists using this monitoring tool. So these are the 4 different types of events which we have. Okay. So just to sum up today what we did, so I showed you today 2 transactions here. Obviously we'll go into details later on. One is your expected event overdue list and one is your wave interface. Okay. And we discussed about what are some of the functionalities event management has to offer, what are the different types of events we can have, and also an overview of how an event reporting can be done if you are using your web user interface.
So that is what we expected. The expected event overdue list is your unreported event transaction.
Overdue.
Right?
Overdue means it's always unreported. That means it has not been reported. So for example, for this particular document, if you see loading begin, loading end, this has not been reported. So for this particular document number, you will get the list of all these events which has not been reported, so that your particular customer service or operation team can take control of this and report the event.
So my question, maybe it's a silly question, right? So why it is not being reported? So is it more of a technical glitch in the SAP or something from the user side where it is coming?
So it can be many things. First of all, it can be a glitch from the user side. Therefore, because it's a very common process, like you know, they forgot to report. Okay. First of all, it can be this part. Second part is that if there are certain events which has to be updated through interface, and if that interface is down, again the event will not be reported. Okay. The third part is that, you know, some user had to action some statuses on the business document, okay, and they have not done it. That's why the event did not get triggered. So there can be many reasons for this.
Mm-hmm. So is it always a manual side from the user? Is it not something automated?
No, I have said 3 ways, right? One is manual, one is automatic, one is interface. So manual means obviously manually inputting it. Interface, I think you know what you mean by interface. That means from any legacy system, either you are using a PI or your other middleware tool, whereby based on which automatically the events will be reported. And third is your automatic triggering. Automatic triggering, for example, we in freight order we have a, like I'll show you one document here so that you can understand. Okay, I need to join another call. Okay, just 1 minute. Let me just show you. So suppose if I am using this document number, so I trigger a logic that my event POD will be triggered only when it has been, or so for example the event arrival will only be triggered only when the freight order is confirmed by carrier. That means an user has to go into this document, he has to click on set to confirm by carrier, and then only my arrival event will be triggered. So those are type of automatic trigger event. So unless you trigger this, your event will not be triggered. So sometimes users forget to do all this. Okay. Okay then, so I have to now, because I have another batch now. So is it okay? So from next class we shall start with the specific event management terminology and all. Okay, and also where we configure, we can start the configuration as well.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. So the next class I think will be on Saturday, but again I think Naveen will confirm that. Okay.
What is the time? Yeah, please confirm the timing so that we have to see whether it is which timing it should be feasible enough.
You're comfortable in the weekdays also, right? Like this timing? 8 o'clock IST?
Sorry? 8 o'clock IST?
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
8 a.m. IST means it will be 10:30 EST, I think. Or 10:30 EST it will become.
Is it okay for you?
Not for me. We are two different locations in EST and CST time zones. So it will be too late for the EST people.
So myself, I'm on EST on the weekdays, but I'll be on CST on the weekends. So if we have two different set of timings on the weekends, right? I heard from Naveen, on weekends we can regroup on the morning, like maybe my morning 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock. I'm not really sure whether it's possible, but on the weekdays, from Monday to Thursday, it has to be at least 10 o'clock is good for me on the CST. That means you're 7:30 IST, 7:30 a.m. IST.
Okay, okay. No, that's okay, fine. So I'll just tell Naveen to coordinate with the timings. That's not a problem for me. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, I have to drop off now. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah.